morning. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about Adamera, but mainly some of the new developments in the company. Disclaimer. And as the title suggests, we just recently closed a deal with Hochschild Mining on our Cooke Mountain Project in Washington State. We're pretty excited by that. Their focus is high-grade gold and silver, which is really great for the district we're in. We're in Washington State, and it's really known for high grade. Those of you that don't know us too well, we're based in Vancouver. Our projects are all in Washington State, northeast Washington State. It takes about a 5.5-hour drive to get on site. It's a pretty civilized part of the world. You can work all season round, and it's a low-cost place to work, and there is a lot of mining infrastructure in the area. Let's take a look at the area that we're actually working in. There's two big selling features here. One is grade, as I mentioned. There's been about 7 million ounces of gold mined here, average grade of about 14.6 grams per ton. So this is quite high grade. There's a mill that's in the district. It's on care and maintenance now for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And it's a 2,000 ton per day mill, and it's got capacity in the tailings pond. We're not new to Washington State. We've been there for 7 years. We haven't worked every year because it's been tough to finance these projects over the last few years. Last year, 2019, was one of those years we didn't do a lot of work, but we did look for a joint venture partner. We had a lot of different groups that we talked to. We got a lot of positive feedback, but we really liked Hochschild. The deal that we've structured is $8 million US, or 10.5 million Canadian, over 5 years can earn them 60%, and they can get an additional 15% in the project by completing and sold funding a feasibility study. So it's a really good deal for us, and it allows us to test the targets that we have developed over the years. We have really done a lot of targeting. We call it de-risking targets. We use a lot of different techniques. We look at a lot of different parameters, and we stack things up, and we choose only the best targets out of the lot. I'll give you a quick example. First of all, very simple targets that we're looking for. We're looking for high-grade gold near limestone and clastics. Here's a good example of that. This is the Lamefoot mine. It's in the district. It's just off the Highway 21. It was mined in the 1990s by Echo Bay, and this deposit, just under 1 million ounces, it is exactly one of these types of deposits. It's along a structure, and let's just take a look at that area where the star is. We call this project Goodfoot. Here you can see we look at the geological parameters. We see the clastic rocks, the limestone. You don't need to know these types of rocks, but just look at where the relationship of these lithologies. What we really want to know is where the contact is, because near these contacts, these deposits occur. So we got the right geology, check. Let's look at that area with the circle. Let's watch the development of a target in this area. First of all, we've got a subtle but very significant mag feature along that contact. So we've got magnetics, we've got electromagnetics. In that same area, we see a very strong conductor, which is telling us there's a good chance of mineralization. And we most recently have been applying IP, or induced polarization, and here we see a very nice chargeability anomaly. So we've got 3 geophysical methods, all suggesting that's a good area to really look at and start to drill. We don't just use geology and geophysics, we also use geochemistry like most other companies. Here's some soil geochemistry. The pink colors, arsenic is a very good pathfinder for gold, and of course the best pathfinder for gold is gold. This is a really nice target. We've got a lot of things lining up. And if we can go out and drill and intercept good gold mineralization, this property, for example, has a lot of other targets to test. Let's look at that a little differently. This is something we call Lamefoot South in red, and it's immediately south of the Lamefoot mine. So this is 300 meters from a known past producing mine that had an average grade of 8 to 10 grams. Oops. We've got the right geological parameters. We've got that limestone and that clastic rock, but we see a very nice IP anomaly developing here. Here's our detailed magnetics. We want to see more evidence of a developing deposit. Here's our magnetics. Look at the correlation between the magnetics and the IP, some very good coincidence. We also, as I said, we use geochemistry. Here's arsenic in the pink colors. The circles represent gold values. Very good correlation with the IP, with the mag. So again, if that target turns out to be gold mineralization, we have a lot of other targets on that property. And this is a pretty common theme for us. We've got a lot of ground, we've got a lot of targets developing, and it's not just on the one trend, it's on the other trend. Not only do we have targets developed, but we've spent a lot of time last year and the year before putting together permits for drilling. We've got over 40 sites permitted for drilling. We don't just develop targets, we've tested them. As a small company, we don't always get to follow up these discoveries that we have made, but here's a good example, 2.3 grams per ton over 4.5 meters. This is a single drill hole into an EM conductor. 9.6 grams per ton over 11 meters under the past producing Overlook mine. We step 300 meters away from the Overlook mine, we see 19.4 grams per ton gold at the bottom of a drill hole. We turn the drill hole, we hit 2.5 grams over 10 meters. There's two almost 1 meter zones with 10 grams each in that. And of course, stepping quite a ways to the south, we see 1 gram over a meter. Now, the point I'm really trying to make here is you just can't go out into these districts and drill and intercept gold like that. I mean, this is really sharp targeting. What we haven't done is get out there and test these targets with 5 or 10 holes, which is what we need to do next. Now, with this new joint venture that we've got with Hochschild, they're well financed, and now we can finally do that. We don't know how many targets we will drill this year. We're still working that out. We don't know which projects we will drill, but it'll be some of the ones that I've got on that map. One of the things that they're going to start with is the IP. We have done a lot of IP. We did shallow penetrating IP. They want to look deeper because a lot of the anomalies that we've developed are open at depth. And they've got some ideas that there's more gold developing at depth. So we'll start this month doing more of the IP, and we expect to be drilling halfway through the year. What you can expect from us this year is a lot of news flow. There's going to be some strong news flow on the partnership. We're the operators on that project. We expect it to be somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. We also have maintained some projects ourselves up for 100%, and we expect to do some work on those projects as well. Got to say something about management. We've got a strong management team. We've gone through some pretty tough times in this last cycle, and we've managed to keep the same management team, very dedicated group, and there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of discoveries that have been made by these different people. So just in closing, timing is everything. Location is everything. We're in Washington State, as I mentioned. We're in a district with high grade. There's a mill. We've got a lot of targets. They're permitted. We've got a very motivated and well-funded partner that wants to drill these targets. And even with the Friday gold fiasco, the gold price is overall going up, and we're quite excited by where the market is taking us. And I don't know if any of you know what we're trading at, but we're currently trading at 4 cents, and we think there's a lot of blue sky. Thank you for listening, and have a great week. Thank you.